Well, hello once again. This is me, Leonard Wells, broadcasting as usual from Haslingden, north of Manchester in the UK, on Thursday the 5th of January 2012. I'm going to talk today specifically to the people in the UK who tend to look down their noses, rather, at any of the goings-on in Europe. If you should dare to mention places like Romania, they immediately respond by pointing out that it's full of gypsies and that we don't want to be involved with the EU because we're different. Well, I've never heard so much poppycock, balderdash, piffle and twaddle in all my life. Admittedly, Romania was under communism, as was Hungary and Czechoslovakia and Poland, until quite recently. And they had a very hard time in Romania. The dictator Ceausescu was determined to get everybody off the land and out of their little country houses where they kept chickens and were self-sufficient, and into the cities. And to this end he built, wait for it, 86,000 blocks of flats, Soviet style, 10 or 12 stories, made of concrete, in Bucharest alone, let alone other parts of Romania. In Bucharest there are 86,000 10 or 12 story blocks of concrete flats, each holding roughly 40 families. So you can imagine that quite a few million people live in these flats in Bucharest. And as they are at the moment, many of them are just sort of light stone grey, a buff colour. So they're pretty ugly. And there's sort of grass and mould and mildew growing on the roof and whatever. But they are slowly beginning to improve them and paint them on the outside, and they don't look too bad, all things considered. But I travel to Romania quite a bit. My fiancée, my princess, my Loredana, lives there. She has a flat there. She's on the 5th floor. And I stay at a tiny little hostel, some 400 metres perhaps from where she lives, on the 9th floor of one of these blocks of flats. So I have a great deal of experience of what it's like to live there. And you'd be rather surprised to hear my story and my experience, which is as follows. Admittedly, the lifts in these blocks of flats leave a great deal to be desired. In fact, so much so that under health and safety rules in the UK, they would have all been condemned long ago. I call them, for amusement, cardboard lifts, because when you get in, they tend to sort of wobble a bit and badoing kind of thing. But nevertheless, they're quite reliable, and they get you there, they do the job, but they certainly need overhauling. Although I gather they plan to do all this within the next few years. In addition, all these blocks of flats are supplied by community heating and hot water, which means that there is a factory close by which heats the hot water, which provides the heat for the radiators within these flats and the hot water supply. And it's very efficient. You'd be surprised. I've often gone to Romania in winter thinking I was going to be cold, but when I get there I'm always amazed because those flats and those blocks are warmer than most of the houses within the UK. They actually planned for the kind of winter they have in Bucharest, which is often a lot colder than we have it, but also rather dry. At least in Bucharest, in the mountains, they get plenty of snow. And the ski resorts in Switzerland, in Romania, are quite good and far, far more affordable than any of those in Switzerland. I mean, you can go on a ski lift in northern Romania for a couple of pounds, which would probably cost you £25 or £30 in Switzerland. Anyway, that's by the by. Well, you may say, well, that's all very well, but isn't it better to have our own little gas central heating? Well, that's if you can afford it. And what about local taxes and things, and service charges for these flats? Because, of course, who pays for the repairs to the roof, etc., etc.? Well, you might be surprised to learn from my experience as follows. Here in Rossendale, which is a fairly poorish area of northern England, north of Manchester, we pay, or at least anyone in the Band A for council tax purposes who doesn't live alone pays or any of the other bands for that matter, as long as they don't live alone, doesn't matter which band you're in, pays 2.4 times as much council tax as they pay in Westminster City. 2.4 times as much. If it was that way with income tax, and we paid 45% income tax compared to 20% in London, there would be riots in the streets. Now, the reason why Westminster City pays so little, or at least the residents there pay so little, is because Westminster City Council collects £50 million from parking. Well, I don't think this is either democratic or fair, that people in a poor area like Rossendale should have to pay 2.5 times as much as people who live in a relatively upmarket, wealthier area. Do you? Now, and of course lately we've been having extremely high increases in prices for gas and electricity. And there are many people in England who can't afford to put the gas central heating on. So it doesn't gain us anything to look down our noses at Romania. And I was asking the host of the hostel I stay in, which is effectively a largish 2.5 bedroomed flat with kitchen and large living room and a bedroom and a smaller box room, all of which has been converted into a small hostel with dormitory accommodation for 4 in one room and a single room with a double bed as well, plus the bedroom for the landlord's mother, the host's mother, and a little room for himself, and a kitchen. Very nice, very clean, very respectable, very, very kind, generous host at this hostel called the Hostel Tina in Sector 3, Bucharest. You can find it on the internet, Hostel Tina, and you can book using the Hostel Bookers website. Now, I was speaking to him about the situation relative to people living in the UK and in Romania. And he opened my eyes because he told me that he pays in total about £60 a month. This is for council tax, service charge, heating, hot water, and everything else, collecting the refuse, the lot, everything, and electricity for £60 a month. Here, we pay more than that just for gas. Never mind electricity, council tax and all the other things. And they're warmer there in Bucharest. And they have more facilities. They have trams as well as buses and a metro. Very good railway system. So we needn't look down our noses at Romania. And this talk, I hope, will encourage people to think about taking a holiday in Romania. It's a lovely country. Don't go in winter, it's a bit chilly unless you like skiing. If you like skiing, go north to Bukovina or to Brasov or anywhere in Transylvania. By the way, Prince Charles has bought 2 houses in Romania. He loves the country, as I do. Well, God bless, while it's still legal in the UK to say God bless. By the way, Romania's in the EU, and in addition, will be joining the Euro in 2015. So all the talk about the collapse of the Euro and the collapse of the EU is a load of waffle. God bless, while it's still legal here to say God bless. Take care and bye for now.